All right, guys. So today we have built up to are you strong enough or smart enough to navigate your way through the Salem witch trials? Must be the season of the witch. So you're going to have all of these different slides that we're going to go through, and you're going to have to answer the questions. Answer them honestly. And when we get to the end, it'll be fun. But it's going to be based off of things we've already learned about, right? On Monday, we learned who was involved, why the things happen or they think they happen, right? Yesterday, on our CSIs, we came to the conclusions of why we think it happened, right? Most of you chose what? The ergot, right? The poisoning, like, or their brains, they thought that they kind of gave themselves like a hallucinogenic drug, right? We learned that ergot was really, they made LSD from it, so maybe the girls were hallucinating, right? So now we're going to see if you can survive the Salem witch trials or not, okay? So I'm going to pass these out. We're going to follow along as a group. I will read most of them to you, and all you have to do is record your choices. Record your choices. This is a fun activity that we're going to see whether or not we can survive the Salem witch trials. All right, so let's get started. Go to slideshow. All right, the Salem witch trials. All right, would you survive? The year is 1692, and you are living in the quiet town of Salem, Massachusetts. Your neighborhood is small, and it's devout in its religion. Here, everyone practices the Puritan faith. We're all Puritans together. You are devoted to your religion, and your community lives in harmony. However, lately, some vicious rumors have begun to swirl. There are witches walking amongst you. Hysteria is on the rise as your friends and neighbors try to protect their families from evil spells and hexes. Soon, however, more people are being accused of witchcraft. Now, even you are under the scrutiny of the community. So, on these next few slides, make your choices wisely. Right now, each of you has one person suspecting of you of witchcraft. But if 12 more become suspicious, it could be enough to put you on trial and have you go to the gallows to be hung. Starting out, you're going to write under gender, first part on our sheet. Let's begin with the basics. Are you a man or a woman? You're just going to write man or woman right here. Are you a man or are you a woman? So, everybody recorded man or woman. Raise your hand if you chose man. Gentlemen, did you choose men? All right, anybody choose? And then choose female, right? Okay, so, and again, you're in luck. Most men were not accused of witchcraft, so no one suspects you now, gentlemen. However, ladies, being a woman is a key indicator of being a witch. This is 1692. This is not current times, obviously. As you know, women are more susceptible to sinning. Sinning is a gateway to let the devil in. Another person suspects you of witchcraft. So now you're going to write a 2, ladies, because 2 people accuse you of being a witch. You just write a 1. Guys, you just write a 1 because you're a guy. Lucky, you're lucky. You just write a 1. Now we go into physical features.
I never wore braces.
Then if you didn't wear braces, that's a good point. If you never wore braces, you don't have to put anything. You just stay at the number you had, so you're still at 2. Dennis, you said you didn't have braces too, correct?
I had braces.
You had braces. Even you said you didn't, right? So you'll stay at 2. All right, so even if it's 1692, looks matter. While makeup isn't accepted in the Puritan town of Salem, that doesn't mean we can't try to look our best. So, record if you have any of the following physical traits. If you have any moles, that's 1. You're going to write down moles. If you have any warts, you write down warts. If you have any birthmarks, write down if you have a birthmark. Pale skin. If you have any pale skin, you're going to write that down. Yes, Jay?
I have a birthmark, but it's not noticeable.
Well,
You know where it is?
Where?
It's right here.
well, you still have to write that down because if we'll remember,
Yeah.
when we were on trial, right, they would open up the blouse and look on the back or different because, again, they didn't want you to hide it, so that's good. Facial hair, if you have facial hair, you got to write that down, or wrinkles, okay? And all I want to know, you're going to write down each of what you have. So if you have all 6, you would say all 6. If you have just a mole, write down a mole. Jackie told us she's got a birthmark, so she's going to have to write down birthmark. Gentlemen, Dennis, sorry, you got facial hair. Ethan, you got facial hair. You got a little bit of facial hair.
Is it just a point for each one?
Yep, it's going to be 1. Yep. Well, not each. Just wait. All right, so as it turns out, looks do matter. Residents of Salem are following the advice of Reverend John Gold, and he was the leading expert in identifying witches. He, of course, knows that people with a wrinkled face, a furrowed brow, a hairy lip, a gobber tooth, a squint eye, if your voice squeaked, or scolding tongue is not only suspected but pronounced for a witch. I guess people are taking his words to heart because for every physical attribute that you have written down, with the exception of pale skin, if you wrote down pale skin, don't count that against you because it is Massachusetts. After all, they don't get a lot of sun. That's one more person that suspects you. So, did anybody write down more than, if you wrote down one thing, that's one person suspecting you. If you wrote down 2, that's 2, 3 is 3, okay? And then you'll add that to your previous number. For instance, Dennis, how many things did you write down?
2.
You wrote down 2. And you already had,
2 more.
yep, good. So that's 3, right? You got 3 people suspecting you,
I
right?
have that 4.
You have 4 suspecting you? Yeah. So it's starting to add up, right? It's starting to add up. Now, so here's a picture of our witch trying to trick. They're saying that this was Tituba, and she's trying to trick these children. So, suspicions are growing, guys. Let's hope no one else thinks you were dabbling in witchcraft. Jealousy because you don't have children. So now you got to add 2 to your previous number. 2 more people suspect you. You're up to 5 now?
I'm not
You
jealous
said
of
I
other
had 2
people
now,
having
right?
children. I do not want a child.
Well, but this is 1692. I get what you're saying, but this is the time that, again, are we starting to see a common theme here? What is the theme? Basically, any reason that they want to use to,
Against you, they can.
yeah, I mean, because it's about to get a little crazy. So,
So I'd have 7.
you have 7, yep. So, which hand do you write with? Do we have any lefties? Oh, we have one lefty.
No.
All right, are you lefty or are you righty? Well, I am really sorry, but if you are right-handed, you're safe. However, if you're left-handed, there is surely something sinister going on. In fact, being left-handed has long been promoted by the church as a sign of evil. Priests will even quote biblical passages to support the idea, such as warning that Judgment Day, the righteous will pass to God's right, while the sinners will be sent to God's left. So that's another person that accused you. Sorry. You gotta see how crazy that is, though. He's left-handed. It's not a choice. He is left-handed. No one is watching, and then you throw it with all of your might towards your sister. Unfortunately, you miss and hit the pastor in the back of the head. Do you admit your mistake, blame it on your sister, or pretend you didn't see anything? You can even write option 1, 2, or 3. You can just get 1, 2, or 3. Are you admitting your mistake? Are you blaming it on your sister? Or are you pretending you didn't see it? So, anybody admitting to your mistake? Raise your hand high. I want to see it. Dovely and Jackie, okay? Is anybody blaming it on their sister? Anybody pretending you didn't see anything? Raise them high for pretending you're not seeing anything. What'd you come to? What are we doing? 3? Okay, so if you admitted to your mistake, and asked for forgiveness, you are forgiven by the elders. No harm, no foul. If you blamed it on your sister, You have lied. This is breaking a biblical rule. One more person suspects you. But for those of you that tried to cover it up, pretend not to see, the elders find out, and two of them, excuse me, suspect you of witchcraft due to your lying and lack of repentance. So if you pretended not to see, add two more. Two more. So now we're getting up there, right? You're already at 12. All right, so did either of you pick a swimming test?
No.
Dudley picked the swimming test. Okay. All right, Dudley, let's see your fate. So Dudley chose the swimming test. Dudley is taken to the nearest lake. Her accusers strip her, bind her hands and feet, and toss her in the water. Since witches can't be baptized, you will float in the water if you are guilty. If you are innocent, you're going to sink. You sink to the bottom, proving your innocence. Congratulations, you're innocent. But the rope tied around you to pull you up out of the water breaks and you drown. So Dudley's innocent, but Dudley's gone. Sorry, Dudley. All right, Marianne, what do we choose?
Touch.
The touch test? Okay, the pressing test was how that young guy, or was how that guy died when they laid him flat and they crushed him with the stones. That's the pressing test. The prayer test, which we had a previous group take, they got acquitted of all charges because they were able to say the Lord's Prayer. That was some of them last month too. The witch cake test, we won't get into that because it's kind of violent. All right, Marianne, I got bad news for you. Your victims have been brought in while they are in the midst of one of their frenzies, right? Their convulsions and all that. And you're going to be asked to touch them. If they continue to convulse, bite, spit, etc., then you're innocent. But if they become calm, you are a witch. Here's the bad part. The victim is one of your childhood enemies, someone you didn't like. And they would love nothing more than to hurt you. So upon you touching them, they fall completely still and you are hanged. You're dead.
We're right there.
So we have four of you that turned out not to be witches. Congratulations. One of you that turned out not to be a witch, but you died. Sorry. And then one of you that was found to be a witch. But in summary,
Reality, we both thought.
do you guys kind of see though, like, and this was really some of the things that they accused people of doing, right? Like, some of you survived, some of you didn't, but like, being left-handed, you're a witch. Having a mole, a birthmark, you're a witch. Like, and this is what happened, right? And it still ties back into like today's stuff. Like what do I always say? Save the drama for your mama. This is like a very intense case of drama spreading. But guys, 2 little girls caused over 100 people to be held on trial for being a witch, and 20 people died over it. This happened in 1692, and there's still gossip and all that going around now, right? Like even in high school. The key is just to, like I said, save the drama for your mom. You guys will be just fine. But I'm glad you guys did this. This is the summary of everything we've been doing. And now we will go ahead and you can come up, class is about to end, you come up and get your folders, put everything in them, and we will continue on with the 13 colonies tomorrow.